Teddy Covers, welcome to the show. How are you doing Wednesday morning?
Hey, how are you today, Jimmy? I'm doing all right, man. No complaints, though it's still early.
I'm doing great. Nice winning night yesterday. Swept. Went 4-1 in my action. Swept MLB 2-0 and cashed with a bunch of plus lines in NHL. We have an ROI right now of NHL of plus 23%, and
Nice.
I'm coming off that terrible September, and I've got a lot of work to do to get back into to the land of profit and black. But I'm on my way, and it feels very, very good. And I'm ready to get to work here. And, Teddy, I want to start with this game today. Yes, Nutflush Allen, I copy. So we've had a ton of questions already come pouring in all day through the show for you. So I have a ton of questions. I have Big Boss's Mountain West looks. I have more action from Drew Martin. But everybody so far, and I'm talking like our best cappers as well, have come in saying take the under in college football tonight. South Alabama, Troy. Let's take a look at what this under has got to right now quickly. Wow. It didn't really go down. Come on. Is that facts? It went down from 66? No. Come on. That's got to be a... No. Okay. Let me try a different book. That can't be right. Let's see bookmaker. Yeah, okay, no, it didn't. Okay, sorry, there's something wrong there with the opening line at Pinnacle. So everybody liking the under here, Teddy, and let's talk about it. So battle for the belt, South Alabama, Troy, Chip Lindsey and Troy off to a 2-3 start. We have Caleb Barker questionable due to that injury at Missouri week 6. So, and I don't know if you probably have the most up-to-date information. So Gunnar Watson could be in the game, and that, you have to think will slow down this offense. And we have this Jaguars team allowing 200.8 rushing yards a game. So we have no B.J. Smith, but D.K. Billingsley should be able, and then Trevor Woolfolk, they should be able to take advantage of this situation. And this is a rebuilding project in Mobile. Steve Campbell, second year, and this looks like a Jaguar team that's ready to be abused here. And we've seen the line go from minus 15 to minus 17. Teddy Covers, take it away. Wednesday night, Sunbelt action, South Alabama at Troy.
Sure. Let me start with this: is that I'm not playing the game. I'm not close to playing the game. Okay. So we'll start with that from the get-go. I certainly agree with the under sentiment. And yeah, you were talking about the penny line. I think that was a key code. Someone was typed in 56 and they typed in 66. You're like, oh crap! And then maybe one guy got a bet down and they moved it to the market number off of that. But, it's not a total that's been steamed down. South Alabama's been an under machine all year. They've cashed one over ticket, and that came in the game against an FCS foe. And it's an offense that 5 games, they've gone to halftime with a touchdown or less in all 5 games. So the defense isn't creating plays, the special teams isn't creating plays, and the offense is very limited. Again, Cephas Johnson has 708 yards passing for the full season. They want to hand the ball off to Trey Minter over and over and over again. That might work against Troy. It's certainly a good recipe for an under, when you have a team that doesn't have anything resembling an explosive passing game. My concern here with the under, of course, is that when Troy has stepped down in class, that offense has been pretty electric. And they are capable of chucking the football around, and they are capable of winning by margin. So do I trust South Alabama's defense to hang tough for 4 quarters? I do not. Do I trust Troy enough to lay this price with them after it's already been steamed up? I do not. Do I want the under? I lean that way. But when you look, when Troy has faced weaker defenses, 43, 42, 35, 43, they're moving the football 500 yards. Well, they had 485 against Akron, but they were up by 28. They didn't try to move the ball in the second half of that game. They've been able to move the ball effectively. So lean Troy, lean under, won't get involved with either one.
Yeah, I can understand why you'd want to stay away. Do we know if Caleb Barker is going to be in the game?
I do not know yet. It's all still questionable. Let me see if there's anything. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, because I imagine that's got to be.
Sorry, upgraded to probable. That's new from what I saw last time. So Barker's upgraded to probable. Of course, I was talking about Cephas. Oh no, that's for Troy. But it's he's upgraded to probable for right. That's why the money's coming in on the Trojans.
And I got you, Jerry. Feel free to start rolling in the questions. And so if we don't have Gunnar Watt, if Caleb Barker's behind center, would that change your mind on the under?
No. I mean, the concept here is For the under, the thought process is that South Alabama is a dead nuts under team. Okay, they're not going to score. And even when they stepped down, I mean, they got 3 against UAB, 17 against Louisiana Monroe, 17 against Georgia Southern. They didn't get to 400 yards in any of that game. This is not a dynamic offense. And Troy's been in these shootouts. If Troy's comfortably ahead, they're not going to be pushing the pace and looking to get 50 tonight or anything like that. I don't see that as the case. So it doesn't, the thought for the under is mostly about the underdog here. South Alabama is not going to score points in bunches, and their defense is decent.
Well, Gas Station Sushi has a very funny question that I debated so much when I first got here. You know what? If we have time, I'll ask him that question because it's a big debate that I had when I first got here with Pete and you know what? Let's just touch it. I know this is like a question where we could sit and talk about it for 30 minutes. But Gas Station Sushi says, ask Teddy if actually watching the football games makes you a better or worse handicapper. And the way I broke this down, there's benefits to both. But the more I broke it down, I started thinking that let me just say, the guys who are studying the game, studying the market, and not watching the game, they just don't have the same biases that I have. That I have so many biases. There's teams I hate that get in the way of my capping. So that's the way I see it. What do you think of that question? And let's not spend too much time on it, but it's an interesting look. What do you think about actually watching the game? Does that make you better or worse?
So watching the games with a clear head, where you're seeing things with as little bias as possible, is absolutely a benefit, in my opinion. That's the crux of my handicapping. Most of the money moves on statistics, numbers, yardage, all kinds of stats. It's going to move on information when it comes to injury reports and that sort of thing. They're not watching games. And when you're watching games, you get 2 advantages. One, you're seeing teams that are in a different current form than their statistical profile would indicate. That's the number one thing I look for. Team's been playing at this level all year. Well, guess what? Now they're playing at this level, or they're playing way below. The broader markets won't see that. If you're watching the games, you will. But watching the games can hurt you if you watch them emotionally, if you overreact to everything you see. If you see a team play well and you say, oh, they're always going to play this well. Teams never never are as good as they look on their great days, and they're never as bad as miserable as they look on their bad days. So watching a team once can actually hurt you. If you watch a team repeatedly, it can really help you get a sense of who they are. But that's just my take. Other people look at it a different way, and I know very successful handicappers that never turn on the television on Saturday or Sunday, and I know very lousy handicappers that watch every game every week. So it's a matter of being able to process the information that you're looking for while watching. I'm watching, is the quarterback making good decisions? Is the offensive line capable of protecting and making protecting the QB and the running back? I'm watching a lot of the matchups. Oh, well, is the secondary, is the coverage good? Those are the things that I'm focused on, much less than what the score is and how this drive is going and all that sort of thing. So if you're focused on the right thing while watching, it can really help you. If you're focused on, oh, that guy's an idiot, it's not going to help you at all.
It's an excellent answer. And the sport it affects me the most is horse racing. I get affected by it enormously, and I find it bad. You get attached to a horse because of a race you saw him run when he breaks through the clouds and runs right to the lead and wins for you, and it costs you so much money. We've got tons of questions coming, but quickly, I was at the track at Hastings, the female jockey, an apprentice named Marlo Dunn. I was with 2 buddies, empty track. She looks at us and she goes, "You gonna bet on me, boys?" And we all freaked out. I'd never been talked to by a jockey. It was at 17-1. It went down to 6-1, so late money came on. The horse wins. There was an objection, claim of foul, but the horse wins. And I look at my friends, I'm like, man, this is going to cost me a lot of money. And sure enough, Marlo Dunn never won another race, retired. And I bet you it cost me $2,000 backing Marlo Dunn horses over the rest of the season. So it can just really mess with your head. But let's get focused and start hammering this card right now. So we have questions coming in. I've copied and pasted them. We also have looks from some of the cappers that we roll with. And Teddy on Monday gave us Duke +4, Central Michigan -10, Iowa State -6, Washington State -13.5, Northern Illinois -1.5, Rice -3. On Tuesday, he added Louisiana Tech. Have you done any more additions to your card?
So did you see what happened to that La Tech? I'm like, oh, the money's steaming on La Tech, and then it steamed right back the other way. I ended up taking a bad number in that game, and I'm pissed. That being said, there was one more bet that I made yesterday. I want to see if it's still – it was a rogue 14, and I grabbed it because I wasn't sure if I would see it. It was Arizona State plus. The broader market was still at 13.5 last I checked. And, yeah, there's still a couple of 14s out there. But I took Arizona State plus the 14, betting number 359. That's a 6 o'clock Eastern time, 3 o'clock Pacific time start at Utah. And this is everything to do with Herm Edwards' track record. You know, he's played, I think, 9 road games at Arizona State. They've never lost one by more than a touchdown, and that includes some pretty tough environments. So I understand Utah's coming off the bye. I also look at Utah as a team that's not explosive enough offensively against a solid defensive foe to win by more than 2 TDs. 14 was my buy price, so I got down Arizona State plus 14. Again, betting number 359. That I believe is my 8th play. 8th bet that I've made this week.
Yeah, it's your 8th look, and I like that look a lot. Thank you for sharing that with us. I love the more and more I get to work with Teddy, the more I can set everything up and have everything set up for us to talk about throughout the rest of our shows. And I love this. So we've seen his Monday looks, his Tuesday looks, his Wednesday looks, and questions are coming in. So let's start with the questions before we start asking you about some of these other cappers' looks. So that's the wrong page. Okay, so let's start right here, and we are going to open with the first questions that came in. And the first question that came in was from Jeremy Williams at the beginning of the show. Said, "Hey Jimmy, ask Teddy about the over 61 in Clemson, Louisville."
So it's funny you bring up that question. Thanks for the question, and I appreciate you getting on early to ask. I'll be happy to answer it. I sat down with this game last night, and I was back and forth like, what's the better play here, side or total, side or total? I think Clemson's going to get theirs. I'm confident Clemson's going to get theirs against Louisville. My question, and I kept going back and forth on this, is Louisville going to get theirs? Clemson's defense, this isn't playing Wake Forest's defense last week. This is Clemson's D. And Louisville hasn't really seen a D of this caliber yet, and we've seen Clemson be very capable of shutting down teams like Louisville. And every over that I've lost in the month of October, seriously, every one of them has been the exact same way. One team gets in the 40s or 50s, the other team doesn't score. I'm worried about Louisville's ability to score in this game. I am. That has me a little bit concerned about the over. But I'm still debating. Clemson because I firmly believe Clemson's going to get theirs. I don't see Louisville stopping them. So I'm back and forth whether the better play is Clemson minus or the over, and I'm still debating it. I don't have it right. I certainly don't have an answer for you. And I went back and forth on it last night, and I'm still back and forth on it this morning. One of the two is a good bet. I'm not sure which one though.
Yeah, it makes so much sense that it would be a tough spot because you're coming off that Oregon game where they put up 45 points for your over and, being upset about that. And then anyone else is also coming off watching Louisville crack 60 last week. And both of those things at play would definitely make this a tricky cap. So I can understand the back and forth there. Let's go to Todd Clinton. Todd Clinton says, Jimmy, can you ask Teddy about the are the Minnesota Gophers for real or a fraud? What do you think this weekend against Rutgers giving up 28?
Thanks for the question. I think the Minnesota Gophers are absolutely real. I think you can make an argument they're one of the most underrated teams in all of college football, even though they're undefeated right now. A complete afterthought, haven't played the marquee games, no one's paying attention to them. And of all the teams that I will not put any money on, Rutgers is at the top of the list. Minnesota or pass. Right now, again, 28? You see what Rutgers did last week? That was Indiana, okay? It wasn't a juggernaut, it was Indiana. And the offense is dead. That team's a quit team. Nobody cares. I want no part of Rutgers. And the way you make money with teams like Rutgers is you bet against them every week. And if you've been doing it, you've already cashed in a bunch. I wouldn't play Rutgers with your money. Minnesota or pass.
Minnesota or pass. And just quickly, what about Eddie Euler coming in? I know about the Louisville Clemson spot. What about just taking the Clemson team total over?
Yeah, that's the best bet. That might be the best bet of the bunch. That's the one that makes the most sense to me. But when people ask me side total, team totals are something that we use and we talk about. From a service standpoint, nobody wants team totals. From when you're talking to a lot of casual better, team total, what's that? So I don't talk about it as much. But yeah, the team total is the obvious. Clemson over to me is the most obvious play. That's a clear one. Haven't seen a number yet though.
Our guy, Nut Flush Allen, will be with his wife, Kristen. God, she caps with them. It's just a family that I just love so much. We'll be live at the USC game this Saturday. Arizona at USC. USC opening up at -9. Now we have 9.5s and 10s. Sorry, let me just load up the spreads and totals so I can get the total as well here. It's at the end of the evening on Saturday, and the total is at 67 and hasn't moved. Any lean towards a side or a total here with Arizona USC?
I don't expect to play this game. I'm not. I mean, it's two teams I really don't want. What we saw from on a cash ticket bet against Arizona last week, and we saw everything you need to know about the Wildcats in that game. Khalil Tate has his moments. He played well, played a good half. He was awful in the second half. And there's been a lot of that from Khalil Tate where he has his moments, but 4 quarters, we're not getting that. And defensively, this is a mediocre team at best. So I'm not really interested in Arizona's single-digit road dog against a team that, from a talent perspective, that USC really outclasses them. All that said, you want a track record of failure, look at Clay Helton as home favorite, man. This isn't a team to lay points with. They got there against Stanford. That's the one win and cover as a favorite this year. And we all know how bad Stanford was before the markets realized what Stanford was, and their quarterback got hurt that game. So even that wasn't, you can't be like, oh, wow. Trojans have the talent to do anything they want. They don't have the attitude. They don't have the coaching. They're not a team I'm comfortable laying points with. So I don't want the dog. I don't want the favorite. From a total standpoint, I guess I would lean over in this contest, even though USC's back-to-back unders. They played Washington, Notre Dame, big step down in defensive class this week against the Wildcats. So, free bet, I probably look at the over here more than one of the two sides.
Free bet looking at the over. I am just going to, I don't even want to write it down because I'm just losing on Pac-12. Now I know that I'll see that and I'll have an edge. And I'm not even gonna write that down. Okay, let's go on to Thursday action from Jerry Beatty. Our guy Jerry Beatty says, "Can you ask Teddy about Louisiana Lafayette Thursday night at Arkansas State? We've seen this market keep moving in Louisiana Lafayette's direction. Open up at -5.5, and now we have 7s at BetOnline, 7 at Heritage, 6.5 at other books. What do you think about backing Louisiana Lafayette tomorrow night?"
Yeah, my initial take and my point spread on this game was wrong because I missed the whole Logan Bonner situation for Arkansas State without their, and it's not like they're that much worse with the backup QB, but the markets have really reacted to the Red Wolves in that spot. And of course, defensively, Arkansas State cannot get stops. I guess they got stops against UNLV, but that's literally the only game all year where that defense has shown the ability to stop anyone. They are coming off with an extra week to prepare after a game in which they gave up 52 points and 722 yards, and we're -2 in turnovers again. That's the other thing with Arkansas State. Their defense doesn't force turnovers basically ever, and Lala's got a defense, so I can understand why the money is coming towards the defense. But again, my number here was closer to pick 'em, and we're talking about a 7 right now. So it's not like I'm super excited about laying any price with the defensive favorite here, especially coming off a crushing home loss to App State last week. So it's not a game I'm going to play. It's not a game I'm particularly close to playing. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't give you a stronger opinion than that.
Well, that's the same thing Matt Randall's numbers came out to, -1.5, so he is off of it. Matt Randall says, so if you like Arkansas State and the points, wait. Greg Matson says, Teddy, not so much a question on the game, but what are your thoughts on my preseason future of LSU at 18-1? At what point do you think I should start looking into hedging, or should I ride this thing out? Thank you.
LSU 18-1 to win the title?
Yeah.
You got nothing to do right now. You wait. That's a long way from cashing right now. So in terms of hedging, you do nothing. At 18-1, LSU, you can't. You're not even going to hedge that, and then they make the SEC title game. You're not going to hedge that against Alabama. The only way you can hedge that at 18-1 is if they get the playoffs. If you want to make any money, I mean, you can hedge anytime you want if you're willing to just give up all your profits. Should they actually win the title? But at 18-1, you're going to hold that till they reach the playoff, if they reach the playoff, and then you'll have an opportunity if you want to hedge twice, if they win the first game.
Yeah, that's a perfect answer to that question and makes a ton of sense. All right, Melissa Glenn in our chat, she says, can you ask Teddy his take on Florida-South Carolina game? Pretty please with cherry on top. Melissa Glenn, very sweet in our chat. Can you ask Teddy his take on Florida-South Carolina? And while I'm saying that, I should also mention that we have I'll wait. One of our cappers this week is on Florida, and I believe it. I'm gonna have to make sure I know who exactly it is, so I'll wait to give you that. But Melissa Glenn asking Florida, South Carolina.
I'm just checking right now. I mean, I didn't have info on the QB. Okay, Helinski's now upgraded to probable for Saturday. This is okay. Let me start with this. I cannot take Florida this week. Back-to-back barn burner games. The game against Auburn, that was an intense, physical, down-to-the-wire battle. Last week, same story against LSU. Now you're going on the road, laying points week 3. No, this is not a emotional high spot for Florida. Can't do it. So then you say, all right, well, do you want to take South Carolina with a banged-up quarterback off their biggest win of the decade, against a good defensive foe? And again, last week, what happened was Georgia turned the ball over. Georgia wasn't focused. Georgia didn't execute in the red zone. Georgia's great kicker missed field goals. I mean, there's a lot of weird things that allowed South Carolina to win that game. They played well. They played well the week in the previous game against Kentucky. I mean, if I had to play it, I'm going to look at the Gamecocks, but I don't have to play it. I do not trust South Carolina to get up for a game after the win they had last week. That was a huge win for them. But I'd rather have South Carolina than Florida. The spot here for the Gators is not a spot I'm comfortable laying road chalk against. It's one thing if they're playing an absolute bottom feeder. South Carolina is not an absolute bottom feeder. A clear pass for me. I won't get involved on either side.
A clear path, and it was Drew Martin. Drew Martin is making a move on Florida. Got him at 5.5. Prince of the City says, can you ask Teddy if he likes the over in FSU Wake Forest? And I'm trying to pull out the exact number within all of these games, and I can't find it right this second. So I'm just going to go ahead and ask you. FSU Wake, here we go. Opened at 68.5, still 68.5 at Pinnacle, now 69. Rotation number 331, 332. Florida State Wake Forest, do you like the over here?
So in general, I tend to be a little bit reluctant to take some of these overs after a team goes 62-59 the previous week and everybody pays attention and everybody notices. You know what I mean? You had this Wake, and Wake had gone under 3 games in a row despite prior to that. Wake Forest is a dead nuts over team. I'm confident of that. The Utah State game showed me that week 1. And even though BC stayed under, that was the offense moved the football the entire time, and what we saw last week was no surprise. Demon Deacons have a downfield passing game. They have a suspect defense. The issue is Florida State. Florida State's been under. When they haven't cashed an over since week 2. Literally, the first week of September was the last time the Seminoles cashed an over bet. And I understand that Clemson ripped them apart, last week. But this defense isn't likely to get ripped apart week in, week out. I know that Wake's got the playmakers to, hang 45 on Florida State the way Clemson did last week. And offensively, Florida State's I don't know that I trust them to move the ball up and down the field all game against Wake. I don't have a strong take on this total. I understand the concept behind it. Wake, to me, yeah, they're an over team. But this opponent this week, I'm not convinced the line is right, and I'm not convinced that everything works as easily as did a week ago for that Demon Deacon offense. So it's not a total I'm going to bet.
Not a total you're going to bet, and that I understand. We have Manny Sanchez, as well as both of our guys, Manny Sanchez and Comic Ricky, asking about Boise -6.5. And our guy, DJ Big Boss, came on our show last night, and Mountain West, where he does it best, liking Boise State and the under, but he hadn't made a move yet. He said he still wanted to study more of those two spots. They were leaning to this spot, Boise State and the over. Teddy covers this spot right now, Boise State, BYU. We talked about it yesterday. There are 7s now on the board for Boise State, and this total is down at 48.5 at most books, 49 at Pinnacle. Take it away, Teddy.
If you're betting Boise, don't wait till I finish talking. Bet them right now. That line's going to 7. It's there at many books right now. I expect it to be there at all the books at some point today. It certainly feels that way for Boise. I'm not stepping in front of Boise in this matchup. I think Boise's a lot better than BYU. I certainly look at a Broncos team that is still undefeated, and the pressure hasn't ratcheted yet. But you do start worrying about some of these road games. The pressure, we'll worry about that game on November 23rd against Utah State, at Utah State, if they're still defeated. So it's not like this undefeated thing is going in Boise's head. And boy, they've done a really good job avoiding mistakes and avoiding turnovers of late. Looks like Backmeyer's going to play for the Broncos. That's why we've seen Boise money. And I mean, BYU is what they are, man. They're not a dynamic offensive team. I think they're going to struggle to move the football against the Broncos. They could move the football against South Florida. They could move the football against Toledo. They could move the football against Washington the week before that. And it's 3 straight losses now, a 2-4 BYU team. The problem is that BYU isn't interested in a lot of games. This is a game they're interested in, and they battled Boise pretty tough in recent seasons. Their offense hasn't worked against them, but their defense has done a nice job of slowing Boise down. And BYU's not hopeless. They are a solid defensive squad, and it's not easy to go and lane a touchdown on the road against a solid D squad. So I had Boise on my short list. I still have them on my short list. I do not think I'm going to pull the trigger. I lean in that direction. I also lean under in this one. I do expect a defensive struggle. But I haven't made a move on either one yet. So right now, they're both still in the lean category. A little bit of respect for BYU defensively that might keep me off of this one. Of course, the markets are moving in the wrong direction.
If you were given a free play on, and you could only pick one on either,
Boise.
It would be Boise rather than the under?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Probably.
Okay, we've got more questions coming in.
No, I'm making a 2-teamer, Boise and the under. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I feel you. They're both good looks. Okay, we have Rod Zawacki saying, can you ask Teddy what you think of his pick 6? So we're not going to be able to break down each game. Let's just say, let's put out 5 spots. So we already know what Teddy thinks about Florida -6, so we don't need to add that. What of these spots do you like the best, if any? LSU -18, Baylor +3, Tulane +4, Buffalo -16.5.
I got no problem if you want to ride Tulane at all. This is not a Baylor spot this week. Be aware of that game. It's from a spot standpoint, Oklahoma State stands out as maybe the best spot on the board. And especially at +3, you want to hook with that. So yeah, Tulane is the one that stands out to me the most. Good luck.
Tulane, and then his other look is in NFL. Let me just pull up exactly what the market move is now. Here we go, NFL. And it's a game that I'm very interested in backing the Colts with. He's on the Texans, What do you think of this Houston-Indy spot? And we'll get right back to NCAA football, but that's the last look on his pick six card. He's backing the Texans, and I like Reich off of a bye. I think that they can slow down the things that are succeeding for the Texans enough to get the job done. Texans-Colts on Sunday afternoon, Teddy.
Did I talk about, I know I talked about this on one show yesterday. I talked about that I put a Texans future in my pocket yesterday?
No.
Okay, yeah. So who's the second best team in the AFC?
Ooh. Yeah, I
exactly.
Mean, yeah.
Your answer is the right answer. Oof. You know, I think the Texans might be. I found a 10-1 on them to win the AFC. I thought that was ridiculous. I put some Houston 10-1 in my pocket. And maybe it's a dead, maybe but again, I'm only going to have to hedge once there if I want to when they go to New England, assuming New England's still there. I continue to think the Patriots have some vulnerability. I think the Texans are really good. It's a Colts spot. It's absolutely a Colts spot. Colts are no joke. The game's a pick 'em. I'm not betting Houston this week, but the upside for Houston is real, and they're a team that I'm fairly bullish on. As
you should be, and I'm just in love with what I'm seeing from Deshaun Watson on the field and off the field, so I can completely understand that.
It's not just Deshaun Watson, though. I mean, Deshaun Watson's the star. They got playmakers. They have an offensive line now. They have a defense with the pass rush. They've got a decent secondary. The coverage is good. We're seeing there's a lot to like about the Houston Texans.
Yeah, they're absolutely. There's no doubt about it. Okay, let's keep rolling down the questions coming in from the chat. Our guy, Andrew Wojciechowicz in the house says, Ohio State -28, Penn State -9. Can you ask Teddy's opinion on these two Big Ten games?
Wojo, what's up, buddy? I would definitely – so Ohio State -28, only way to play it. I do not want Northwestern in the game, and I understand Northwestern's a dog, and I understand Northwestern with the track record under Fitzgerald and yada, yada. Northwestern's outclassed in this game. Ohio State's going to do whatever they want. I will not step in front of the Buckeyes this week, even in this point spread range. And the fact that it's holding at 28 is telling you all you need to know about Northwestern's chances. As for Penn State, Michigan, my initial lean was Nittany Lions. If I catch 10, what's that number doing this morning? With 9, I was seeing nines. Am I going to catch a 10 in that game? It's 9s everywhere. At 10, I'm a buyer on the Wolverines, flat out. I might even get that. I might get there at 9.5. I don't know. Penn State's played two decent defenses this season. Played Iowa, couldn't move the football. Played Pitt, couldn't move the football. They were held to 17 in both games. I ain't laying 9 points with a team that can't move the football against good defenses. So my initial lean was Penn State. I flipped on that one. And as the money comes, I'm more and more interested in the Michigan side.
More and more interested on the Michigan side. Okay, we've got to make moves. Put a bow on this show. I still have more looks from Drew Martin and DJ Big Boss that I will ask Teddy about throughout the rest of the week. And one final question jumped in here from Bleds W. Our guy Bleds says, can you ask Teddy if he likes the Steelers this week? Let's move over back to NFL and take a look at what that spread and total is quickly. Wojciechowicz. Okay, Wojciechowicz. I'm going to get it right. I care about getting names pronounced right very, very much. So I'm going to get that right soon, my guy Andrew. Quickly over to the Steelers spot, and I'm going to lock in my
Steelers
NFL.
are on bye this week. He's making a joke.
Oh, all right. He's messing with me. Bleds W messing with me? Does not sound normal. Okay. Then quickly here, I'm about to make my moves on this NFL card and would like to ask you about a couple spots that I'm close to pulling the trigger with. Let me just ask this one question, open-ended question. What's your expectation of the LA Rams moving forward after picking up Jalen Ramsey, dealing with what they've done with Talib and now Marcus Peters, and now bringing in Jalen Ramsey? What do you think that does to this Rams defense, and what's the outlook on them? Because I'm on the under 10.5 wins, and just hearing your outlook on the Rams will help me with this Rams-Falcons look as well. So what do you think about this Jalen Ramsey pickup?
I think it's a strong buy sign on LA, and I sure as hell don't want Atlanta this week.
Yeah. That makes sense.
When the malcontents are out of the locker room and someone that wants to play and can play is in, immediate upgrade.
And what do you think about the total now that's sitting at 54.5?
I'm not playing any Falcons game under, and I'm not playing this game over. I'm not convinced that Atlanta is going to be putting up points in bunches. Pass. But I mean, I'm not playing any Falcon game under.
No, they're ridiculously bad defensively. I thought that it was going to be better this year, getting the players back from injuries. I know they've lost Neil, but I just thought that it was going to be so much better. We've got to go, Paco Healy. I will ask your question tomorrow. I'm sorry that we didn't get to it. We've got to make moves and go. Teddy Covers, man, we absolutely love. This was a very, very productive day, I felt. Thank you for adding their third day of plays, your 8th play on the card from our guy, Teddy Covers. This is what we're looking at on Monday. Duke plus 4, Central Michigan -10, Iowa State -6, Washington State -13.5, Northern Illinois -1.5, Rice -3. Tuesday he gave us La Tech. Wednesday, Arizona State +14, and Matt Randall also liking Arizona State +14. Teddy Covers, thank you so much for joining us. Follow Teddy_Covers on Twitter. He's a great follow, and my friend, can't wait to have you back again tomorrow morning.
Yeah, it's fun, man. It's fast paced. I never know what's coming, so I can't prep for it. So that's good for me. I've never done anything quite like this, where they're firing questions out of and I love it. It's fun, it's fast paced, and I really enjoy the interaction with all of you in the forums and in the chat. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow, Jimmy.
I look forward to it. There he is, Teddy Covers, and there is our show. We do have a Pick 6 show tonight. We're not doing those live anymore, but that will be out and about with myself and the boss and the sauce. We have Al Mack on our show. He swept the CFL card last week, swept it, put $400 in my pocket. After going 3-0 on Friday, I didn't even play Saturday. I was like, let's cash this W. Let's cash this money and not mess it up. But he will be on our show this evening. And amongst others, we got special guests on the show. I'm very excited about it. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. Once more, I am on, and very confidently, the Sharks -1 and the Caps -1. No longer early in the season will I make bets that I like, just bets that I love. Let's get after it. Let's have a big, big, big day. We will catch you guys back on the Late Show. Most importantly, Leche, hey, los bookmakers.